What's cracking with you people? Anansi here and welcome back to X-Blades. In the last one, we explored deeper into the ruins, which I don't believe the ruins are ever actually given a name. And that's do it. And I believe, yes, we did find a scroll that I'm trying to avoid using for right now. We're pretty close to getting the next ability I want to get, but yeah, we're getting deeper into the game, and now we're coming to another platforming. Did I just get caught on? Okay, that was kind of weird. Coming to another platforming section, but first, we have souls to collect. Yes, here you go. Well, I say platform. It's more of a trial section. And yeah, you just gotta be careful. Also, you can fall down the side here and die. I've done it before. It's not pretty. So basically, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to get across this. It's like any obstacle course challenge. Just be careful. You know, kind of go at an angle. I believe you can jump to kind of reorient yourself if you need to. And there we go. Because when you get hit, I believe it kind of like hardcore stun locks you, and it is not a fun moment when it happens. It really isn't. So yeah, and I believe that should be it for this one. Okay, another strong one. Oh, there were 4 more objects I did not destroy. Oh, I'm not gonna worry about it. But yeah, and I should have mentioned this when we went to the Hall of Blades, whatever it was called, the Great Gates. But you are going to have small segments interspersed throughout the action that are more or less designed to test your reflexes. And as I've gone on and on and on, the controls in this game are kind of finicky, as in they don't. You know, they don't react one-to-one to what you're doing. There's kind of a delay in the input, and that delay can end up having you trigger some moves, like you saw a bit earlier, that I had done the I guess the uppercut attack. It's not, what was the equivalent in Devil May Cry? It's not the stinger. The stinger is the thrusting move. It's I did a launch, essentially. I did a launch. And I wasn't trying to do the launch. As you saw probably in the obstacle course. I don't know what that is. As you saw in the obstacle course, oh, see, there's another one. Ah, right, okay. So basically, right now we're fighting a giant spider. Kind of transitioning to that kind of awkwardly. So yeah, you would probably something like do like the launch that I was not trying to necessarily do, but it happened anyway. You gotta be careful with this particular boss. It's this weird kind of like spider boss thing, and what happens is you have these mechanical I forget what they're called. They have a specific name. I'll have to look it up in a second here. But you have this these mechanical kind of like radar discs, see like there, and what they do is they deflect any of your ranged magic. So what you need to do is you need to get rid of them so you can do any damage to it, because you know, once again, your gunshots aren't gonna do diddly. Oh, they can jump. Of course they're jumping spiders. What was I expecting? But luckily they die in one hit. So there's not too difficult to kind of deal with. So, fun fact, I don't know if I should be giving you guys this information. Actually, you know what, I'm going to give it to you anyway, because I kind of got over it thanks to Twilight Princess. Oh god, that game. I used to be a massive arachnophobic. Kind of a bit of an anecdote here, but I mean, you see the game I'm playing, so this is just, and this was going to be from the get-go a much more relaxed affair in terms of gameplay, because once again, there's not a lot of information on this game. So it's gonna be a lot of you know, just anecdotes, which you probably come to expect from me at this point. So I used to be a massive arachnophobe. But you're wondering how that happened? Well, I had two very traumatic experiences as a child that kind of turned me off of spiders for the foreseeable future, at least until Twilight Princess came out. Legend of Zelda helped me get over my phobias one at a time. And the two were when I was younger. I want to say I was like 5 or 6. No, wait. Yeah, I was about 6. I was about 5 or 6. And what had happened was that this big spider, and I didn't know if I was awake or not, and again, one of those things like you were kind of like lucid, like you were kind of like semi-aware what was going on, but you weren't 100% certain what's going on. Did not time that right. And this, I guess it was a daddy longleaf or something. It wasn't like a recognizable spider. That one was like, kind of like, I forget what the heck they were called. Anyway, it wasn't like a dangerous spider. It was just like a random spider had crawled down from my ceiling, right? And I was laying in my bed, and I was kind of half awake, and I just had a nightmare too, so it wasn't a very fun experience waking up to that. It had crawled from my ceiling, landed on my bed, and crawled up and into my ear. Or at least it was trying to get into my ear. I smacked the crap out of it when I felt it hit my skin. I'm like, oh, this is real. I was really young at the time, so it scared the ever-loving mess out of me. And another time I was, opening the garage door to my house, get my bike out there, hang out with my friends, and lo and behold, another spider, kind of one of those kind of like small gray spiders with the big backs on the end of it. It just launched out of nowhere and ran up my nose. So yeah, I was not having a good time with spiders for the longest time, and anytime I played a game with a spider in it, it always scared the mess out of me. Like I'd be legitimately terrified. Like, prime example, the spider caves in Jak and Daxter. That could die in a fire for all I was concerned. And I was like, okay, thank goodness we're not dealing with that anymore. Jak 2 rolls around, I was like, yeah, I got a gun. Yeah, I can handle anything. Then there's that part in the Temple of Mar. Oh dear God. Oh dear God, that was not a fun one. And when you're playing as Daxter, and it's like you played as Jak at the small ones, like okay, fine, whatever. For small ones, I have a gun, I can take them at distance. The air was eerie, sure, but nothing I can handle. Then you take control of Daxter. I believe the first time you do in the whole franchise. And what is the first thing they have you do? Run away from a giant F-off spider. I'm like, well, Naughty Dog definitely hates my guts. I trusted you guys. It wasn't until what was it again? Twilight Princess came out that I finally got over it, because from there, I was watching Harry Potter and Chamber of Secrets with the giant spider dude whose name completely freaking eludes me. That whole segment, that's actually one of the reasons why that's one of my least favorite movies in the franchise. It's not my least favorite. As a matter of fact, from an objective standpoint, it is an amazing movie, and I highly recommend anybody to watch it. But for the longest time, I could not stand that movie, and it'd be weird too, right? Because my whole mindset when I watch movies is that I do a marathon, and up to that point, I believe it was just the first and second movie at that point. The third movie came out, which is my favorite of the 8 Harry Potter movies. I love The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's just my film. Yeah, what was it again? Yeah. So I'd be watching the prison, watching Chamber of Secrets because Azkaban had come out at that point. Because I love the opening and I love the ending. But when it gets to that bit with the spiders, I'm like, I gotta cover my face. So, might be wondering, well, how is it that Twilight Princess, that Zelda game, cured your arachnophobia? Skulltulas. The Skulltulas. That's the first time the Skulltulas drop down on you in the Forest Temple, and they have that realistic look to them. It's not that comical giant skull thing. Because I have played Ocarina of Time. I have played Majora's Mask. Never beat either one of them. Heck, didn't even really play them. I was just kind of in the first level, or kind of roaming around and dealing with some of the spiders. But I didn't know they were spiders. I thought they were just skulls with legs. So I didn't make the association in my head. When they drop down on you for the very first time, needless to say, I was in for quite a shock. And I was like, what the heck are these things? Then you get to the Temple of Time and the giant Goma, the giant photorealistic Goma. I'm like, yeah, no, this is my favorite game. This is one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. But I gotta get over this arachnophobia. And eventually I did. Watched enough TV shows and stuff that pretty much made me go, yeah, no, this is gonna really do it. And I think what really sealed the deal for me getting over my arachnophobia, The Mandalorian. I don't know what it is about Star Wars and making just regular everyday like creatures that are familiar to us and just jacking it up to like 11. But good gracious, the spiders and that. And I believe they were first introduced. I want to say they were first introduced in Rebels. I want to say they were. If they weren't, feel free to correct me. But what's the word for here? But yeah, it was one of those things where like I have, if I want to function in life and enjoy these games, especially when games that deal with that have kind of fantastical versions of real life creatures, especially spiders, I gotta get over this. So, and then, you know, after playing those games for several different times, and I would say The Mandalorian definitely clinched it. That was the kind of the coup de grace as far as it were. It's like, at that point I was already over it. I have been looking at photos of different spiders. I saw one guy do a drawing of a more photorealistic Skulltula, and I'm just sitting here, it's like, yeah, no, I think I'm about over my record at this point. And what's the one for here? What is the word I am looking for here? And yeah, I just kind of got over it, because you kind of have to at certain points. There are some phobias you just learn to get over after a while. So come on, just take care of you guys. So when I got to this point, I'm like, what am I fighting? And then I get closer and I realized that I have to, like, you know, get up in this guy's grill for the most part to do some damage. I was like, oh, this is an actual spider. And then there's the spiders in Sudeki. That didn't help at all. I pretty much just learned to get over it. So now, anytime I see like a spider creature in any kind of like science fantasy or whatever you want to call it, or see it in real life, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm pretty much over this at this point. What they call it, exposure therapy. Like, you get exposed to the issue so much, you just learn to get over it. Yeah, that's basically what happened to me. Now I'm just like, I have the ability to set you on fire. I don't care if you're armored. I'm going to make your life miserable. Almost dead. Cause I did all that talking. Look, the health bar is almost done. I basically got one more round of fighting these creatures. Taking out the drones that you know, absorb my shots. And after a little bit, you know, absorb my rage magic, and then I think like what, 3 more hits, he's done. There it is. I was gonna say he should be dead now. And then we just finish these guys off with a good old-fashioned whatchamacallit, earthquake, and done. Just like that, your health recharges. So now that tangent's over. I want to kind of circle back around to my previous tangent about the level design. So yeah, they give you breaks. Now that Anansi's arachnophobia time, ironic I named myself Anansi, right? Yeah, so gotta get over that. But the reason why I bring up the whole like they get your breaks in between is that this was very clearly meant to be a more structured game. With a lot more emphasis on like free flow combat. Oh, I gotta get that gun press over there. How do you get to that? Alright, gotta do some jumping, don't you? It's very clear that you were meant to have a more structured experience. Not so much level to level. Ooh, got a full one. Okay, so what do we got here? Shooting upgrade level 2. You can now increase damage dealt. Can now shoot several enemies at once. So basically, if you lock on with left trigger and move at the same time with left stick, while shooting with right trigger, enemy will fire in the direction of the targeted enemy and in the direction of movement at the same time. So basically, you gotta. So basically, I think I can kind of show this off. Okay, no, so I need to have an enemy to do it. So basically, next time we get an enemy, I'll show it off. So basically, Ayumi has the ability to pull a Dante from Devil May Cry 2 and fire at 2 enemies at once. Okay, so that's the exit down there. We can't go up here just yet. Is there anything else? I only got one on one side. Let's see what we got on this side. There we go. 87, almost there. Just need another 40,000 souls and we're good to go. I don't believe you can destroy these, can you? No, you can't destroy these. So yeah, it just makes me think that Gaijin Entertainment had more in store for this game, or at the very least, a better idea of what they want to show off for this game. It just unfortunately didn't work out the way they wanted to. Because I could very easily see this being a more Devil May Cry-esque experience, where the arched bridge. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe we're going to need anything back here? Nope, nothing back here. Not a bad set piece. And I have to admit, you have to admit, the design of this game is gorgeous. You know. Lovely vistas, lovely viewpoints, even if some of the textures are not loading. Oh, snap! Okay, so I'm gonna need... Okay, this is gonna be hard. Okay, I was hoping this one didn't show up just yet. Does unfortunately mean that I am going to have to use... Because that's a fire elemental now. And I was hoping he would show up later. It does mean I am unfortunately have to use my, my scroll to yeah, you see that I'm kind of moving it. I'm kind of shooting all over the place right now because I'm moving in different directions. Okay, so you can't do damage to him. You're going to need ice, and I've been putting this off now. Okay, so how much is that going to be on regular? Yeesh. Okay, so we're going to need the ice arrow for this. You cannot. This is my problem. This is what I meant earlier. When it's like you cannot choose what you want to use to scroll on. Whenever you have a scroll, it's just used. So we'll use this now. Bind it to an action key. So we're going to bind it to right bumper. Ice flower. And so we don't have to worry about that one for right now. That one's going to be a little bit more now, but that shouldn't be a problem for a little bit. So now, let's go ahead and bust open this crystal. And there's that. Ice arrow is basically your equivalent ice projectile, and you have to use it to damage these elementals. So yeah, I forget how many scrolls there are in the game. It's enough to make your life a little bit easier, but it's not like you can find one for like every single what's the word? You can't find one for every single skill, so you're going to have to use it wisely. Unfortunately, as you can see here, there are some enemies that you are forced to have certain skills for. So it might have actually been smarter for me to grab ice arrows earlier, because I knew this enemy was going to come up, and I thought it would be for a while, but that's on me. That is indeed on me. But on the upside, there is a trick later in the game that does make it easier for you to gather souls. I'll go ahead and tell you what it is right now. At a certain point in the game, the point value for souls goes up dramatically. Like right now, I think every one soul is like 35. At some point, I think each individual soul is like 100-something souls. So that's why I'm not too worried about it. Sure, we could have had the lightning skill I'm trying to get, because I want to show off like the big game breaker skill. Like there's a skill in the game that completely breaks the balance of the game in two. It is ridiculous what it actually is. But unfortunately, you know, I didn't think it through far enough, and now we're kind of stuck with this. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Because I think there is one more scroll coming up, and now that we essentially have the ice element, there is one more element left that we need to get, but it shouldn't be for a while. Okay. Damage here, but that's fine. Oh, there's actually a lot of enemies. I looked at that bar. I'm like, okay, we should be closer to. I'm like, nope, no, you're not. No, you're not. It's like, oh snap. Now I wonder if that's the bar for like the entire gauntlet, or is that just for the fire guys right now? Oh, another thing to make note of. When you hit an enemy and they die, make sure you release your target, because it gets to a point where it becomes annoying, because what it does is it doesn't instantly remove your target lock when an enemy dies. The hitbox lingers for a moment, allowing your aim to be confused for a time as you it basically will just confuse and leave you prone to damage like that. Okay, so I'm gonna need to be careful here because my health is low. Get up a little bit more, because these fire elementals do a lot of damage. The game does autosave as you enter a new zone, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about about dying to you back. You pretty much respawn at the start of every level. So depending on how tedious that level is, that will determine how frustrated you get. Okay, to make those choices correctly. I'll be running back and forth for a second here. Let me go ahead and knock this out, because we are almost done with this particular wave. Just don't stay in one spot too long. There actually is an easier way to deal with these guys. You may have saw inside the and I'm not sure if I brought the mentioned in the last one. I want to say I did, but you saw on the ability screen that there is a fire blade. When you have the elemental blade skills, it basically coats your bullets in that element. So you have like say fire blades, because the thing about the elementals, not the guardians, the elementals, they die from one shot. From one hit of any opposing element. So you don't even. So it's not like you need the full power of their fireball. And I'll explain this real quick. So the fireball does more damage than I believe a fire bullet does, but the enemies in the game, the elemental enemies in the game, are programmed to die from one hit from the opposing element. So if you have, let's say, ice bullets, all you gotta do is just use the ice blade and just start firing at them, and you kill them instantly. That's the easy way to deal with them. Anyway, we're at time, so we're going to call it a part here. I've been Anansi, you've been awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.